Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter Rise. And today is the day you've all been waiting for. Today, I'm going to be bringing you my longsword guide. You all know how I feel about this weapon. This is the weapon that you want to play if you want to feel like a badass samurai in an anime. So let's just get started. As per usual, we're going to be starting with the very basics. So the default switch skills of this weapon are Step Slash, Spirit Round Slash Combo, and Soaring Kick. As we move throughout the video, I'll be talking about different switch skills. I'll be talking about all the Silkbind attacks and all that stuff. But these are the ones that you want to have equipped if you want to follow along with the video. So as per usual, going to be starting things off from the draw attacks. As with every weapon, you can press X from a neutral position. That will draw your weapon. I don't even know why I talk about these in my guides because it's the same friggin' thing for every single weapon. But, you know, if someone doesn't watch any other video and they just watch this, oh, I didn't even realize you could draw your weapon without attacking. But anyway, yeah, you can do that. But if you are running around, if you are moving around with a directional input and you press X, you're going to do a Step Slash, which is the beginning part of the X combo. And if you are moving around, you press CR, or if you just press CR, even if you're from neutral, you're going to go into Spirit Blade 1. Spirit Blade 1 is the first step in your Spirit combo, which we'll talk about the Spirit combo a little bit further ahead, because obviously first we want to talk about the more basic attacks. So, after you draw your weapon, if you spam X, you're going to get a 4 attacks combo. You're going to get Step Slash, Overhead Slash, Thrust, and Rising Slash. Now, if you keep pressing X, it is going to repeat the last 3 hits of the combo. So Overhead Slash, Thrust, and Rising Slash, and that is an infinite combo for this weapon. As you can see, Thrust, Rising Slash, back to Overhead Slash, Thrust, Rising Slash, and you can keep repeating this forever. Another thing that you have is obviously your A attacks, and with your A attacks, you're going to get the Thrust and the Rising Slash. And you guys are like, well, why would I want to use X why would I want to use A instead of X if X does pretty much the same things, with the exception that you have the 2 overhead slashes? And the reasoning is there are certain moves in the longsword that need to be performed after an attack. And the A is a very low animation commitment attack that you can do to basically enable yourself to follow it up with certain attacks. Like one of the things that we're going to be talking a little bit further ahead is something called the Foresight Slash. And the Foresight Slash cannot be performed from a neutral stand. You have to be following from an attack. So if you want to perform a Foresight Slash, an easy way to do that is you press A, and then ZR and A, and it goes Foresight Slash. Whereas if you were to just press ZR and A, you're going to get the Spirit Blade and not do the Foresight Slash. So that is the reason why sometimes you'll want to do A instead of just spamming X, right? It's because the A is a very quick attack, very low animation commitment, and enables you to then follow it up with other things that the longsword can do. But yeah, that's kind of like the difference between the X and the A combo. Now, if you press X plus A, you're going to do a Fade Slash. The Fade Slash can be aimed in different directions. So if you follow it up from an attack, you're also going to be going, like, for instance, say I want to attack and then Fade Slash left. You can press left, not press, you can hold down the analog stick to the left and then press X plus A, and your character will dodge to the left side while also doing a slash. You can also do the same thing to the right side, as you can imagine, and obviously back, you know, you can basically do it in any way that you want. The only direction that you can't go is forward. But yeah, the Fade Slash is kind of like a repositioning tool. So say you're fighting over here, monster moves to the left, you can follow up to the left, monster moves to the right, you can follow up to the right. Fade Slash also has other uses that we'll talk about a little bit further ahead. But now, I think it's time for us to talk about the core feature of the longsword, and that is the Spirit Gauge. So if you look next to your sharpness, there's a picture of a katana. And right now it has a little blue gauge that is slowly dwindling. That is your Spirit Gauge. And the way that it works is whenever you hit a monster with an attack, Spirit Gauge goes up. So obviously you want to be hitting monsters with attacks. Once you completely fill up your Spirit Gauge, then you can do something which is the Spirit Combo. That is basically spamming ZR. So if you spam ZR, it's going to be a 4-hit combo, Spirit Blade 1, 2, 3, and then it finishes with the Spirit Round Slash. Now notice that that sword now has a white outline. You guys are like, what the hell is that? Well, that means the sword's powered up. You're dealing more damage. I don't know the exact numbers. I never look at exact numbers. You guys know me. but basically you're dealing more damage. So your objective is to charge up that sword as much as you possibly can to increase your damage. That's kind of like the ramp up feature of the longsword. The longer you're in the fight, the longer you're able to properly execute your combos, the more damage you're going to be dealing. Now, an important thing is you cannot perform the spirit combo if you do not have spirit gauge. So right now your sword is charged, but it's got no gauge. So if I spam ZR, nothing's going to happen. See? It stops. So you have to attack the monster in order to get your gauge. And usually it takes nearly a full gauge to do the full spirit combo, so you want to make sure that you have it at least pretty much close to full. Now, you don't really need to land every single hit of the spirit combo in order to level up your spirit gauge. All you have to do is make sure that you hit the very last one. So if you're doing all of these attacks and you're missing, the only thing that really matters is that you hit that last one, and that will level up your spirit gauge regardless. Now, the spirit gauge is currently yellow, as you can see, the little yellow outline. It has 3 phases that you can go through. It goes white, yellow, and red, each of them increasing your damage by a certain amount. Naturally, when you get to red, there are some moves that become incredibly powerful, and they will actually consume that gauge in order to dish out a significant amount of damage. We'll talk about those. I mean, I assume that you guys have seen a Helmbreaker, but we'll talk about the Helmbreaker when we get there. Because before that, I want to tell you guys about how you can actually make the spirit gauge go up a little bit faster in order to get to your spirit combo a little bit faster. And for that, we're going to have to use something called the special sheath. So when you sheathe your weapon, you basically, you can press Y and you can sheathe, or you can press R in order to run and you can sheathe. But the longsword has a special sheath that you can do by pressing ZR and B after an attack. So if we do an attack and then we press ZR and B, you get this, the special sheath. And if you then follow up the special sheath by pressing X, then you're going to get the Iai Slash. And what that does is something like this. Now, if you look at your spirit gauge, you'll notice that it's now blue, and it's pretty much filling up all by itself. So that is basically like something that you can do at any point, because, this is pretty much a free move. Special Sheath, Iai Slash, and boom, and it will level up your gauge really, really, really fast. There's even more ways that you can level up the gauge. There's even ways that you can skip the combo entirely and actually just level up the gauge if you're good at doing counters. But that's the idea. Now, there is another move that also fills up your gauge, and that actually implies a Silkbind attack. But this Silkbind attack is conditional to you choosing it. So we're going to have to talk about Soaring Kick at this point. So Soaring Kick is one of your Silkbind attacks. It is very basic. You press ZL and X, and it does a plunging thrust afterwards. And that, as you can see, also gives you the little blue gauge effect, which enables you to fill up the gauge. Now, we're going to level this up to red by just spamming the spirit combo, which is ZR. And now we're in red. Red is the maximum damage that you can do with your longsword. So at this point is when you want to use the Soaring Kick again. So let's talk about the other feature that you can do with the Soaring Kick, and that is if you press ZL and X, and immediately after you press ZR, you'll actually go into the Helmbreaker, so long as your hit connects. So we go ZL and X, ZR. Now notice that lowered our spirit gauge level by 1. We're now back to yellow. So that means you want to level it up back to red again as fast as you can. But that's kind of like one of your most optimal damage cycles that you can do for the longsword, is like you raise your spirit gauge all the way up to red, you find an opening that you can land a Helmbreaker on, and you go, okay, Helmbreaker time, boom! And that is like the biggest amount of damage that you can deal with the longsword. Like, it actually is ridiculous how much you can scale that damage up, because it just goes to crazy friggin' insane numbers. But that is like your basic stuff. So now, let's talk about counters, because counters is one of the most important things for the longsword as far as I'm concerned, because like, this is how you get your damage. You get the Helmbreaker, and you deal damage. However, a real master of the longsword is going to be someone that actually masters how to counter with it. If you're not countering with the longsword, you're not taking full advantage of what this weapon can actually do. So let's go ahead and put the stomp in, and the first counter that I'm going to show you is the Foresight Slash. Now, I told you guys you can only do this attack, you can only do this particular move after an attack, so this is why we would use the thrusting attack from A. And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to do that attack, and then we're going to do ZR and A, and that is going to trigger the Foresight Slash, but we have to time it right, so I'm probably going to be messing it up. So let's see. I'm going to have to wait until the foot goes up, do this, and I messed it up. See, it requires a significant bit of timing, because you have to land that right as it's doing it, like we landed it there, and then if you follow it up with ZR, it instantly leveled up our gauge. So we landed the Foresight Slash, and then we leveled up the gauge. Let me show you guys that again, if I can do it, because I'm probably going to be messing it up. Let me just spend my gauge with one Helmbreaker. Gauge is back to yellow. Now, notice that we are in yellow, so we're going to be doing a Foresight Slash. We messed it up. Have to be a little bit closer. Foresight Slash requires quite a bit of practice, which I don't tend to do, because as you guys know, I don't play a whole lot of longsword. I don't care. We landed that. And then you follow it up with ZR, Spirit Round Slash, and boom, we're back to red. So that is one of the ways that you can level up your spirit gauge instantly. If you're able to predict when a monster's attack is coming, and you're able to land a Foresight Slash, and do remember, very important thing, you can't just go ZR and A, because it's not going to work. You have to be after an attack. So you can, if you're in the middle of a combo and you press ZR plus A, that works. If you need to create ZR plus A, you can do A, because that will put you in attack. You can just keep spamming A in order to stay in attack, then press ZR plus A. But, you know, that is how you get the Foresight Slash, and if you nail it perfectly, you're going to level up to the next level of your spirit gauge. So now let's spend this with a Helmbreaker, and now let me show you another one. So the special Sheathe has two things that you can actually do. So I showed you guys the special Sheathe, which was the ZR plus B attack. And what I showed you after is that if you pressed X, you would do the Iai Slash. And the Iai Slash is going to give you the regeneration. But what I didn't tell you is that you can also press ZR. So if you press ZR, you get the Iai Spirit Slash. Now the Iai Spirit Slash is also going to level up your gauge if you nail it perfectly. And the way that you nail it is you do a counter, which also gives you invincibility frames. Like so. Now, a very important thing is if you're going to be going for these Iai Spirit Slash, one of the things that you definitely want to get on your weapon is Quick Sheathe, because otherwise your Sheathe is not going to be as fast as this. Like this particular build that I'm running right now has level 3 Quick Sheathe. So if you're struggling to land these counters with the Iai Spirit Slash, you definitely want to get Quick Sheathe. I know that it sounds like, oh, but I could have Critical Up, I could have Tenderizer, but on Monster Hunter Rise's Longsword, what you really want to have is Quick Sheathe in order to land these counters. 3 levels is ideal. Maybe you can make it work with 2, but you know, the more Quick Sheathe you have, the faster things will get. So I would definitely recommend it. And in case you guys didn't notice, if you land that particular Spirit Slash, you also level up your Spirit Gauge. So one of the playstyles that is mostly incentivized with the Longsword, as you can see, is that of counterplay. So if you're someone that doesn't like counters, I don't think you're going to like the Longsword. As you can see right there, you know, we had spent it, we were in yellow, and we went back to red. But that's the Iai Spirit Slash. But you see, Capcom didn't think that the Longsword having 2 counters was enough. So you have the Foresight Slash, the Iai Spirit Slash, and then they were like, you know what, let's give them another one. And the other one is the Serene Pose. And Serene Pose is one of your Silkbind skills. This is the Silkbind skill that you cannot change, and it is ZL plus A. And the way that it works, it is an extremely forgiving counter that you just do that. And it deals, you know, more damage depending on the level of gauge that you have. So if you're at yellow, it's going to deal more damage. If you're at red, it deals even more damage. But it also spends your gauge, as you can see right there. We lowered our gauge to basically nothing. Now, another cool thing about Serene Pose is that you can actually follow it up with the Spirit combo, and it skips a bunch of the Spirit combo attacks. It goes straight into Spirit Blade 3 and Spirit Round Slash and gets you right back up to the next Spirit Gauge level. And it is usually fairly easy to do this because you can keep the Iai Slash buff up with really no penalty. So you can just, you know, at any point you can Sheathe and going to Iai Slash, and that just gives you the regenerating thing. So there really isn't that much punishment besides the prohibitive cost of the 2 wire bugs. But at the same time, even though it costs 2 wire bugs, it's also going to deal a significant amount of damage. So, you know, Serene Pose is just a third counter. It's just, the thing is, it's much more forgiving because of how long it lasts. Like, look, I can do it here, wait, boom. Like, see, look at how forgiving that one is compared to the other ones. So that's for when you have like a really big attack that is coming and you're just like, oh, I don't know the timing on this one attack, so I'm just going to counter it with Serene Pose. But, you know, it does have its costs, so it is something that you have to keep in mind when you're deciding whether you're going to go Serene Pose, Iai Spirit Slash, or Foresight Slash. But yeah, those are the 3 counters of the longsword. And, you know, they will help you level up your spirit gauge a little bit faster. Now let's talk about some of these switch skills that we have here. So the first switch skill is something that replaces Step Slash, and for those of you that don't remember, Step Slash is your draw attack, or your first attack of the X combo is just a Step Slash, kind of like a very basic overhead slash, and you can replace that with a drawn double slash. Now the drawn double slash, in my opinion, is just like a better alternative all around because of the amount of gauge that you can get out of it. Like, look, our gauge is empty right now. Double slash is half of your gauge. You can Sheathe, double slash again, boom, full gauge. So if you do this twice, you're already at full gauge, which to me is better than Step Slash, but I know that some people will have arguments for Step Slash. This always happens. I just think that overall, drawn double slash is probably your better option. But that's your first like switch skill that you can have. And, you know, I personally would recommend it, particularly if you're a newcomer to the weapon. I just think it's overall better. But, you know, the next one is the Spirit Round Slash combo gets replaced by the Spirit Reckoning combo. And this is one of those that is just very simply risk-reward situation. So the difference is the Spirit Round Slash combo is easier to land. And for those of you that don't remember what the Spirit Round Slash combo was, that's the combo that levels up your spirit gauge. So now, if we get our gauge up and we spam ZR, you'll notice that the animations are going to be different. And the thing here is that last hit is significantly harder to land. So the Spirit Round Slash combo is easier to land, easier for you to level up your gauge to max. The Reckoning combo is harder to land, but it deals more damage. And on the flip side, the Spirit Reckoning combo is also better for aerial monsters. Because, like, due to the fact that you have a more vertical moveset, if you pay attention to it, you have a more vertical finish. If a monster's flying above you, this will make it easier for you to land the hit on a monster flying above you. On the other hand, if the monster's usually on the ground, Round Slash is the easiest way to level up. You know, as a rule of thumb, the Round Slash is always easier to land, but the Spirit Reckoning combo gives you more damage, so it really is a personal preference. And I think it's also about the monster that you're fighting. If you're fighting a certain monster and you're like, I think I could land the Spirit Reckoning combo in this monster, you should probably use the Spirit Reckoning combo. If you're fighting a monster and you're using the Spirit Reckoning combo and you're like, oh man, I'm missing all of the final hits on my Spirit combo, then you definitely want to swap back to the Round Slash. It's going to be on a monster per monster basis, on a player per player basis. It's just one of those skills that it's a risk reward thing. Now, your third switch skill is going to replace Soaring Kick with Silkbind Sakura Slash. Now, this is a very, very meaningful decision. And as a matter of fact, I actually think that the longsword should start with Sakura Slash because it's just flat out easier. So you no longer get Soaring Kick. Do keep in mind that also means you don't get Helmbreaker, which is the biggest damage dealing ability in the longsword as far as I'm aware. So this is a big sacrifice to do. But on the flip side, you don't really have to worry that much about your Spirit combo because at any point in time you can just do ZL and X Boom. Leveled up your gauge. So you just leveled up. Like, that's it. You do that, and it levels up your gauge. No more managing your spirit gauge. None of that. You just level it up. Boom, done. So, like, any chance that you have with Sakura Slash, you're basically like, oh, there's an opening. I have a wire bug. Whee! Boom. The problem is, as you can see, the wire bug usage is pretty heavy. Like, look at how long those wire bugs are taking to come back. So this is not something that you're going to be able to spam willy-nilly. But still, it is something that gives you a huge advantage in terms of leveling up your gauge. The problem is that you no longer have anything to spend it on. So basically your playstyle becomes get to red as fast as I possibly can, which should be fairly easy on account of the fact that you have Sakura Slash. And then when you get to red, go for the Spirit combo, because it also deals a ton of damage. And whenever you have wire bugs available, go for the Sakura combo. Boom. And there you go. But those are all of your switch skills. Those are the advantages and disadvantages to using each of them. Personally, I like I like the Soaring Kick more if you're going to be playing Longsword, but I can see the appeal of the Sakura Slash. I think Sakura Slash is if you just feel like relaxing and you don't want to be focusing too much on the hunt you're doing, like you're grinding something and you're just like, oh, I just need to get some materials. And you go for Sakura Slash and you just relax, you chill. Not really a big deal. But if you want to focus and you want to really dish out damage, you definitely want to have the Helmbreaker. Boom. So now that you know the basics, let's talk about suggested combos. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to mess something up here, so feel free to mention more optimal combos in the comment section, because I don't play this weapon all that much. But having said that, the way that I go about doing things is like, for starters, I'll open up on a monster with a drawn double slash. And usually, a lot of monsters will do a roar, so this is going to depend on a monster per monster basis. But usually, immediately after I open up on the monster, I wait a little bit for the roar and I go for the Foresight Slash if I can do it. If I think that the roar is going to take longer, then I'll open up with X, then I'll follow it up with an A, and then go ZR plus A for the Foresight Slash and Foresight Slash that roar. Assuming that I Foresight Slash the roar, then I would go instantly into ZR, and that would level up my spirit gauge to the next level, and then I would continue hacking and slashing away at it. Now, if on the other hand you mess that up, so you have like, let's say you have a full spirit gauge, but you know, you messed up the Foresight Slash or something like that, one of the things that I like doing is going from Fade Slash into the Spirit combo. So, you know, you do literally any attack, like you go A, and then if the spirit gauge is full, you go X plus A to a direction to kind of like dodge any potential attack that the monster might do, right? So X plus A, and then I'll follow that up into the Spirit combo, because that's going to skip one of the steps of the combo, and instead of doing 4 attacks, you're going to be doing 3 attacks, and you also did a dodge to potentially avoid an attack. So that's one of the moves that I think a lot of longsword mains will do. So you'll go from, you know, you have whatever move you were doing, and you're like, okay, my spirit gauge is full, let's actually do a Fade Slash into ZR, and boom. You can also do this from aerial if you happen to have a ledge. So like we have a ledge over there. You can actually jump and go straight into an aerial Spirit Slash, which will also skip one of the moves and go straight into Spirit Round Slash. So that's another option that you can do. You can draw with ZR from the air, and that's also going to be skipping one of the steps of the Spirit Slash combo in order to get you quicker to whatever the gauge is that you are trying to get to. And at this point, obviously, you know, we're in red. The obvious choice is go ZL and X and ZR. Now, naturally, if you're just, you know, you're trying to level up your spirit gauge normally, don't forget that you also have the Iai Slash combo. So you go into your special Sheathe with the Iai Slash, and that gives you the regenerating thing on the gauge. Always keep that in mind. You always want to try and keep that buff up as much as you can. And in case you guys forget the inputs on that, it's like literally after any attack, ZR plus B and X. You get the Iai Slash. And obviously then the thing becomes landing as many counters as you possibly can. As a matter of fact, it's usually you know, a very viable option. Like if you see the monster's about to do something and you're in the middle of a combo, stop your combo, ZR plus B, wait, And if you see the attack coming, press ZR, boom. Try to get that counter in because that will level up your spirit gauge pretty much for free. Okay? Another thing I feel I should mention is, you know how when you do your spirit combo, at the end of the animation, your character will sheathe your weapon? Like so. Like you do the spirit round slash combo and boom, he sheathes it at the end. The reasoning they do this is because it's stylish, like, oh, I did the big attack and then I sheathe my weapon. And also, it puts you in a mobile position to kind of like move away in case the monster is countering the attack that you just did. So that's just the choice that they've always had with spirit round slash combo. However, one of the things that you can actually do is you can go into a special sheathe after the round slash combo if you want to stay on the offensive. So you can go and you can do the full combo, and when he's about to sheathe, you press ZR and B, and it'll actually go into the special sheathe, which then obviously opens you up to Iai Slash to keep attacking, or, you know, you can be ready in case the monster is about to do a special attack, and you'll be able to, like, maybe counter it with ZR afterwards. But that's another thing that you can do from the Spirit Round Slash combo. But those are kind of like the basics. Obviously, if you're playing with Silkbind Sakura Slash, your playstyle is going to be significantly different because you're not going to have the Helmbreaker, and instead you're going to be spamming Sakura Slash combos, not combos, but Sakura Slash attacks as much as you can to level up your gauge, and then just doing more Spirit Round Slash combos. But that's kind of like the longsword in a nutshell. The important thing about the longsword is mastering the timing of the monster attacks, is learning when you can counter things with the Iai Spirit Slash or with the Foresight Slash. And the really cool thing that they've done for longsword users is that basically Iai Spirit Slash no longer has any drawbacks. Like in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, if you missed the Iai Spirit Slash, like you would actually lose gauge. And here it's like, nope, there's no consequence whatsoever for fumbling the Iai Spirit Slash. So yeah, just go to town with it. Just experiment with it and try to get as many counters as possible. Because, you know, that is, in my opinion, the key aspect of the longsword. But having said that, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys thought about this guide, particularly you longsword mains out there. I'm very curious if you guys think that the guide was decent or not, because obviously this is not a weapon that I tend to play that much, and this is probably going to be the last guide, the last weapon guide that I will do for Monster Hunter Rise, on account of the fact that I don't really play ranged weapons. I'll probably make a video talking about this though, but yeah, just that's the longsword guide. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If it helped you out and learn a little bit more about the longsword, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, if you think I suck at the longsword, then that's too bad. I don't like you either. But hit the dislike button. I'll see you guys later. Thank you all very much for watching. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.